This is BatCoder, and today we'll be solving day 3 of LeetCode daily. So today's problem is number of laser beam in a bank. So let us quickly get onto the question. So the problem states that anti-theft security devices are installed in a bank. You're given a zero index binary string array bank representing the floor plan of the bank. So basically the problem statement is quite simple. We'll just quickly go through it. So for example, this is a bank, and this bank has basically four floats, right? And this binary string represent the security configuration, that is 0 represent empty cell and 1 represent the security device that is installed. So now we have to calculate the number of laser beam that is present entirely in this bank based on the given condition, which is pretty straightforward. Like if there are two rows R1 and R2, so the like two devices are located on different rows, there will be one beam between any two security device. Okay, so and also there might be some empty cell in the entire floor, and we can just in that case we can just completely ignore that, and it will pass on to the next one. So it's quite well explained on this diagram. You can see for this one there are two beams, for this one there are two beams, for this one there are two beams, considering this cell is empty. And for the next one we have this one we connected to this, and this one connected to this. But if you observe that the first in the 0th index position there is no beam connection between the 0th and 1 to 3rd index position, considering it violates this condition, the last one. So there is already there is already one configuration where the devices are already installed. So the basic intuition behind solving this question will be, if we see for this first row there are three devices, and this one is empty, so we won't consider that. Then there are two devices, so 3 2 is 6, right? So 3 2 is 6, and again we'll start from here. There are 2 and there is 1, so 2 1s are 2. So we'll add this 6 plus 2 and we'll get the answer as 8. Now let us quickly look at this example. There are three in this row, but there aren't any other devices present in the other floor, so answer will be 0. So without wasting any further time, we'll just quickly get started on this question. So we'll initially declare a variable int basically answer, which we'll be storing our answer. Then if we see each time we have to do a multiplication operation based on, suppose we are standing on this row, so we have to keep a track of what is present on the previous. So we have to keep a variable to keep a track of the previous count of the devices. So we'll define a variable prev, and we'll also initialize it to 0, right? So now the next thing would be to run a for loop for auto it within this bank, and now we'll run another loop within this to iterate over the string, right? So this will be char of x on this it, right? And we'll keep a count. Also we'll declare a variable count to keep the count of the number of devices. So count will be equals to 0, right? And inside this we'll just if x is equals to 1, we'll do count plus plus. Okay, so once we are done with this operation, we'll get out of this loop and we'll keep a check. If the count is not 0, if the count is not equals to 0, then what we'll do is we'll store the answer by adding it. So for if we quickly run through this in the first iteration, so the previous is 0 and the count is 3, so 0 into 3 will be 0, but we'll keep adding that to the answer. So for the first time it will be 0, considering there are no beam if only this row is present. So this will be priv into count, right? And this is basically adding it to the answer. And now what we'll do is we'll store the count to the prev, right? So it's done. And so what will happen, so for the first time it will be 0, and when it will come to this second index position, we have the previous as 3 and the count will be as 2. So we'll do 3 into 2 will be 6, and we'll add it to the answer, which is 0. So answer will be storing as 0. Now again when we'll move to this one, so our prev will contain the value as 2, the previous count, and our count will be 1. So 2 1s are 2, that will be added to our answer, which was previously 6, and we'll add 2 to it, so it will give the answer as 8. So we'll directly return answer. So I think this should work. So if we look at the time complexity, it will be something around like we are only iterating over this string, so it should be and also it will be big of n square, I think, because like the rows and column will be anywhere within the 500. So big of n for iterating over the floats, and big of n again for iterating over the string. So the time complexity will be around big of n square, and the space complexity will be big of 1 space, as we aren't using any we don't have to use any additional space to store our answer or to calculate it. So we'll run this test case and see if this is running fine. So it got accepted as the given test cases. So we'll finally make the submission and see if this is accepted. Okay, so it got accepted. So that's it for the video, guys. So we'll meet again tomorrow. So till then, keep practicing and keep learning. Thank you.